Hey Nathaniel, I thought I'd do a quick video here to show you some of the systems on the Westie here. Um, I'm not going to cover the basic systems of the Westphalia. You can go on YouTube and there's a gazillion videos that'll show you how to operate the pop top and just the basic Vanagon functions. So I'll just talk about some of the mods I did to kind of help you out once you receive the van. First off, I did do a video already on this utility box that I designed. It has the fan, of course, a 10-gallon shower, air compressor. The compressor is pretty low volume. You're probably not going to be able to inflate these tires, but they're good for inflatables and bicycle tires and that sort of thing. And then, of course, electrical connections. I decided when I did this, I didn't want to connect it directly to the house battery bus, so it has its own electric source, and it's this little power source here. The reason I did that is because this pulls in and out very easily. If you want to travel without it, you just disconnect it from the little solar generator there and just pull it out. It probably takes, I can pull it out, so I'm sure you can as well. It weighs probably about 70-80 pounds once the water tank is empty. But anyways, this thing here, I think it's about 150 watt hours. So the fan, the fantastic fan, you can run it on low. It's about 1 amp, 1.5 amps, so you can probably get about 7 or 8 hours out of it. It's pretty nice when you put the screen on the back there. You open up the back hatch, mount the screen, which is included, and put the bed down, and you got this fan blowing across, and even on the hottest nights, it's really nice and comfortable. This thing here, it lasts quite a while. Here's the charger. So if you have to recharge it, I usually just plug it right into the inverter, which brings me to the battery systems. The chassis battery on all Vanagons are located underneath this panel here. So if you ever have problems and you have to jump start, that's where you would get your connections. The house battery I installed, it's 110 amp hours. And it's underneath the seat here. I made a little box that it sits under so it doesn't get damaged when you put other items in there. So here's the switch to turn the house battery on and off. I recommend if the van's going to sit for any length of time, you turn it off because there is some parasitic draw from the refrigerator. You can see it's off now. Now, there is a battery separator, so if you have the van running, these items and the things that operate off the coach battery are the refrigerator, the Propex camp heater, which I'll talk about here in a second, and the internal lighting. And you can see none of this stuff is on right now. So if I go on and turn the house battery on, and you can see the refrigerator and the light is on now. And if we were to turn on the heater, that would work as well. So, but what I was going to say is that if the van is running, even if you have the switch off, it still will operate these items here with the van running. But as soon as you turn it off, then of course those items will stop running unless you have that switch on. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, okay. Speaking of electrical, now let's come up here in the cockpit real quick. It may be kind of hard to see because of the lighting, but this stereo, one of the problems, and I think I mentioned it to you, is that even if you have the ignition off, it's hot wired. And I had situations where my phone was paired to it, and I wasn't even in the van, but my phone would ring within Bluetooth distance, and the radio would turn on. And I came in one time, the radio was on, and I was like, what's going on? And then I finally realized that because it's on the hot battery bus. And the same with the cigarette lighter and this USB connection here. So what I did, I mounted this switch right here. So if you put it towards the stereo, the power's on. And if you turn it off like that, it's off. And that's just kind of a precaution. So if you're away from the van for a while, you know that none of this stuff is going to draw your chassis battery down. So I talked about the the ignition cutoff. I won't go over that again since I am posting this on YouTube. But if you have any questions on that, let me know. And I actually put this little label here because folks, when they first get a Vanagon, these switches are really confusing. So Go Westy sells these little decals that tell you exactly what you're doing when you manipulate these levers here. One other thing, there is an amplifier with a bass, which is underneath the passenger seat. And this right here adjusts the bass control. And it's pretty kicking if you have it up all the way. So if your windows are starting to rattle, just turn that down a little bit. A lot of puck lights located all around the van. Of course, those run off of batteries. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, there is an inverter. And again, that inverter runs off of the house battery. So you can turn it on and off right there. And if there's any 110 items that you need to power up, you can plug them in there, like laptops and those sort of things. Of course, they have to be low wattage. You couldn't put a hair dryer or plug in a microwave, but anything with low wattage works just fine. Again, this is kind of basic Vanagon stuff, but there's a switch. Turn this on, you can check your battery level. And again, that's the house battery, and as well your water level. Okay. Let's see, refrigerator. The old Vanagons, Westphalias, came with the propane refrigerator that never worked even when they were new. So a lot of people upgrade to the 12 volt, which you have here, and it's great. It's about twice the capacity of the original, and you can pull that out of there. But you can put a lot of stuff in there. So, okay, as far as the heater goes, let me talk about that real quick. First thing, you want to make sure, and this is brand new. I put the high capacity tank in there. It's about 33% bigger, and you can see it's brand new. I put it in, I think probably about a year and a half ago. But it's about 30% bigger than the original. But you know, I always turn the propane off when I'm not using it. So, you know, if you're camping and you want to use the stove or the heater, then of course the propane needs to be on. There's the filler. Okay, so let me show you how the propane or the Propex heater works. Okay, once again, you need to make sure that you have power to the house battery. And there are the lights on. Okay, so here are the controls here. What you do is you take the fan switch, put that on, and you can kind of hear the fan starting to kick. You just turn this, they say turn it just a little bit for a couple minutes. It's getting the igniter lit off and all that stuff. And that's just the fan, of course. Then you can go to heat and set your desired temperature. Okay. It's about 90 degrees here now. Obviously, this thing's not going to kick on, but that's pretty much it. And then you kind of reverse the action when you want to turn it off. All the way off. There you go. Okay. Sometimes this light will blink, and you can look up Propex online, and I've had it do it to me before where, say, the house battery is low. I think it flashes like 3 times. I can't remember the sequence. Or sometimes I went to turn it on, I forgot to turn on the propane, and it flashes as well. Maybe it's 4 times. But there's a code pattern that you can look online, and that'll troubleshoot any problems that you have. But it works great. Yeah, I've camped in this thing 10 degrees, 15 degrees, and because it's such a small compartment, it heats up the van really nice. Only thing you have to be aware of, like most vehicles, is condensation. You'll wake up in the morning, and because all you're breathing, you're probably going to have condensation on the windows and that. So what I usually do is I'll crack either the overhead skylight here a little bit, or one of the windows, just to get some fresh air in as well. Okay. Man, everything else is pretty standard. Oh yes, there's two tables that come with the Westphalia. This is the big one here that everybody uses. This one pulls out, of course, and you can use it for dining or whatever. And then you can see there's this other table leg right here. And most people don't even use that because it's kind of useless. Theoretically, you can turn these two front seats around and put the table in between and dine, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So most people don't do it, and they either discard the table or they put it in the garage. Well, I found online this place where there's little mounts, and you can take this like that, and it pulls that table off. And the nice thing, stand by. Hold on, I'm trying to do this with one hand. It's kind of a two-piece deal here. This comes out, and I'm not going to do it because it takes more than one hand. But anyways, this is a jack point right here. Okay, that goes into the jack point, and then once this is set up, you can take the table leg, put it in there, and mount the table. Then you have a nice table outside the van here that you can, put chairs and dine on, or put a little outdoor stove and cook on. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I've used it a bunch. Let's see, a couple other things. Again, this is just kind of unique to La Calabaza. Here are the roof racks. I don't have them on. I can't get the van in the garage when the racks are on, so I just take them off unless I'm going on a trip. Here's the cargo box. I did measure. I will be able to slide it inside the van, and I'll put everything inside of it, including the dash that you purchased from Van Gogh. This is that center lock box I was telling you about. There's a little pad, and there's a box in combination. So if you can imagine, it mounts right here in between the seats. And you can go online, Go Westy sells them. And there's another company, and I forget, I think they may be in your part of the woods in Oregon or Washington, but they make one as well. And again, it's a security box where you can, it bolts in to the van. So, and it's heavy gauge steel. I mean, you can walk on this thing, you can jump on it, and I've seen videos where guys have actually driven cars over it, and you can't break into it. So I just never had time, got around to put it in. This is that ARB screen room. So when you deploy your ARB awning, that screen room attaches. It's pretty nice. I've only used it a couple times because I don't stay stationary for 2 or 3 days really to justify it. It's not a pain in the butt to put up, but it does take some time, 15-20 minutes or so. So if you're only going to be someplace for a day or so, it's really not worth the effort. But at least you have it. It's a pretty big room. I think it's like 10 by 10 or 12 by 12, something like that. It's really good size, and it's all screened in. The sides roll up if you want to get fresh air, or you can put them down if it's raining. So yeah, pretty nice, man. Let's see, what else? And again, you can look online as far as getting the top up and down. I won't go over that right now. But I think that's about it. If you have any questions, again, they're supposed to pick up the van tomorrow. Just give me a call, and I'll go over any questions that you might have. Oh, there is a question. Again, this is kind of a basic Vanagon thing. People always want to know what this is for. That's only if you're plugged into shore power. If you're in a campground and you plug in to shore power, then those 110 outlets work. But even if you're using an inverter or the house battery, those are dead. So again, it's just when you're camping and plugged in somewhere. Okay.